Welcome back to another learning video. Today, we're tackling a big one. We are going to walk through the huge task of migrating a Spring Boot JPA application from the good old days of Java 8 all the way to the brand new world of Java 21. Let's dive right in. And this isn't just a tiny hop. We are jumping across 13 major Java releases. Yeah, 13. That's not just a version bump. It's a massive generational leap, and that comes with a lot of changes, some challenges, and some really incredible opportunities. So you've got to understand what's at stake here. If you handle this well, you're going to unlock some serious performance gains, get modern security standards, and your app will be way easier to maintain. But if you handle it poorly, oh boy, you're looking at broken builds, total dependency chaos, and these sneaky runtime errors that are an absolute nightmare to track down. Having a solid plan is, well, it's everything. To make sure we get this right, here is our game plan. We're breaking this whole thing down into 5 manageable stages. We'll start with the leap itself, then we'll upgrade the core foundation. After that, we'll modernize the codebase, configure the environment, and wrap it all up with testing and a final polish. Okay, let's kick things off with the most critical part, upgrading your core foundation. Seriously, before you even think about touching your own business logic, you have to get the frameworks underneath, Spring Boot, Jakarta EE, and Hibernate, all updated and stable. This foundation has 3 pillars you just can't skip. First, you've got to upgrade Spring Boot to version 3 or higher. Second, and this is the big one, you need to migrate all your package imports from JVex over to Jakarta. And third, you'll be upgrading Hibernate to version 6, which, well, it comes with its own set of surprises. And this table right here makes that first step crystal clear. Look, if you want to use Java 21, you absolutely must be on Spring Boot 3.1 or higher. No ifs, ands, or buts. Your old Spring Boot 2 app just won't run. This one requirement is basically the domino that starts this entire upgrade process. In this slide, this shows the single biggest breaking change you're going to face. With Spring Boot 3, everything moved from the JIX namespace to Jakarta. The best way to think about it is like a company changing its name and moving to a new address. All your import statements are like mail, and you have to send them to the new place. Your application literally will not compile until you fix this, everywhere. Now, upgrading to Hibernate 6 isn't just about changing a version number in your build file. It has gotten a lot stricter. It tightens the rules for your query syntax, and it changes how some core things, like lazy loading, behave. We're going to see a really tricky example of this in a bit, but just know that queries that worked perfectly before might just break. All right, our foundation is solid, so let's move up a layer to modernizing the codebase itself. This is all about updating your application code and, just as important, all those third-party libraries that you depend on. A single outdated dependency can bring your entire build to a grinding halt. You have to go through your project and make sure that all the key libraries, we're talking Lombok, MapStruct, Flyway, stuff like that, are all compatible with Java 21 and the new Spring framework. Trust me, trying to use an old version is a recipe for disaster. And you gotta remember, the jump from Java 8 is huge. The JDK itself has actually removed things that used to be baked right in. The classic one people run into is JXB, which is for XML binding. If your app uses it, it's no longer part of the core JDK. You have to explicitly add it as its own dependency now. Okay, the code is updated, so now we can zoom out a bit and focus on configuring the environment. This means telling your build tools, your runtime, and your containers that, hey, we're living in a Java 21 world now. This might be one of the simplest changes you make, but it's absolutely essential. Whether you use Maven or Gradle, you have to go into your build file and explicitly set the Java version to 21. It's just one line, but it's the line that tells the compiler to use all the new features and generate the right bytecode. And here is the reward for all that work. The Java 21 JVM brings some fantastic performance boosts right out of the box. The G1 garbage collector is now the default, which for you and me means shorter, more predictable pause times for our apps. Plus, you get access to powerful new tools like the Z garbage collector for those ultra-low latency situations. It's just faster. On the flip side, you also get much stronger security by default, but this can be a bit of a double-edged sword. For instance, Java 21 disables old insecure protocols like TLS 1.0. So if your application has to talk to some really old legacy servers, Well, those connections might suddenly start failing after you migrate. It's something to watch out for. And for everyone running their apps in containers, this one is a must-do. Your old Docker file probably uses an OpenJDK 8 base image. You have to switch that out for a modern image that's built for Java 21. The Eclipse Tumorin images are a fantastic choice. They're what the Spring Boot team recommends.
We've made it to the final stage, and you could argue it's the most important one: testing and final polish. All these changes we've made are just theory until we prove they actually work. This is where you validate everything.
Okay, check this out. This is one of those tiny, subtle, breaking changes in Hibernate 6 that can cause massive headaches. Remember how I said it was stricter? Well, here you go. Index parameters in your queries now start at 1, not 0. This is exactly the kind of bug that's so easy to miss in a code review, but can cause silent failures or even data corruption. A good test suite will be your best friend here. So, to wrap this all up, here's your high-level migration checklist. Upgrade Spring Boot to 3.x. Migrate from JavaX to Jakarta. Update every single dependency. Set your Java version to 21 in the build file. Go through and fix any broken queries, especially the sneaky ones. And finally, test, test, test every endpoint and data flow. And once that migration is complete, the journey isn't over. In fact, the fun is just getting started. Now you can ask the cool questions. Are you going to refactor your app to use lightweight virtual threads for insane scalability? Or maybe simplify your data classes with immutable records? The entire modern Java ecosystem is now at your fingertips. Thanks so much for joining me on this migration journey. I'd love to hear from you. What was your single biggest challenge or gotcha moment when you moved to a new Java version? Drop your stories in the comments below. And hey, if you found this helpful, please be sure to subscribe for more explainers just like this one.